This is Jolie here for Title Sports Network. I'm joined by Adam Smith here in a very cold Coventry. But a great night of boxing, obviously, with GBM. Izzy Asif, he's done it again, obviously the first one on DAZN too. It's good to see you, Adam, here at GBM.
Yeah, really good night. My feet are freezing. I did bring woolly socks, but I didn't even have time to put them on. The action was fast and furious. Really good early card. Arlo Stevens, I think the highlight for me with his knockout. But some really good performances and some new names, which was great. And then the Irish duo getting rounds in. Probably expected a couple of knockouts, or certainly one of them maybe. But sometimes it's tough when you're looking really to impress all the time. And we've got to remember they're at embryonic stages of their career, and I think plenty of rounds of experience is better at this stage than early blowouts. So it was good that a lot of competitive fights. Niall Berry, obviously disappointment for him. He was devastated at the end. It shows what it means to all of these guys. But Francesco De Rosa was fantastic. It was even Stevens at times, but De Rosa stuck in there even with a hand problem, and I thought he was great. And it's a big win for Italy. They didn't get it in the football tonight, but they got it in the ring. And we'd love to go to the Amalfi Coast and have a rematch, so that would be fun. But great, yeah, and an upset win if you see it like that, or an away win. I think it's always good. It just shows what GBM are all about, putting really good fights on. And then the Danny Quartermain fight, he had an absolute nightmare for the first 3 or 4 rounds. He was charging like a bull. I think he was really over anxious, over eager. I think he was really sort of worried about the crowd support and the pressure on him. But as soon as he settled down, last 3 or 4 rounds, he got his boxing going. I think Edwin Cleary, doesn't have a lot of hair left, but if he had any, it would have all been gone. I think he's seen it in the amateurs a bit, and he gets cut. He's a little rocky, isn't he, Danny Quartermain, and he can actually box pretty well too. So I like the fact that he boxed his way home and showed the way to change around a fight when it wasn't going his way. So really good night for him in the end, and a great night for the fans. It was just action all the way, and really good debut for GBM on DAZN, and the first of many.
Yeah, you've ran through basically the whole card there, but just to touch on, you mentioned it's competitive, mentioned in all the interviews as well, as he's kind of had that as his vision. He's always said, I remember going to the first or second show in the Magna Centre, I think it was in Sheffield, and he said he wants to make these competitive, so it's credit to him that he's still making this a thing, because it's competitive, and a lot of boxing fans want to see that, right, as opposed to the traditional format.
Of course, and on September the 21st we've got competitive fights up and down the show, and that's what the Saudis have done. They've changed boxing, but I think at this level, I think we're doing a great job of that. It's not easy. Al Siesta does a fantastic job of work behind the scenes to try and match everybody. It's hard. Prospects need education, so the young 6, 7-0s, 8-0s can't be put in, really hard fights. Otherwise, it's probably going to derail them, or, But then they have to be put in little tests, and the fans want tests, and so we try and make it as even as we can. But it's also difficult with late pullouts and all of that, changes of opponents. But actually, it worked out well tonight because there were some really even fights, quality boxing, and I hope the fans were happy with it. So it is tough. But we, to get that balance right between the prospect learning and actually some real tough fights. But, like Kieran Malloy had a really hard one in Rotherham, and I think we all wanted him to have a sort of slightly easier night tonight, because, you don't want to get your prospects hurt and bashed up early on. You need to get them full of confidence and learning to adapt to different styles, but at the same time we want to put on the good fights too. So I think some 50-50, some 55-45, some a little bit easier for the prospects, but a mix, so you get a bit of everything in a night. I think that's the key.
Okay, with a lot of people anyway, I've heard your kind of opinions on the September 21st card. I do want to get your opinion on one thing though, the face-off which came out 24 hours or so afterwards between Dubois and AJ. It's been doing the rounds on socials, which is good for the promotions. I thought it was hilarious.
It was, yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. It was just, it was different, wasn't it? It was so unexpected. Daniel's a pretty quiet guy. AJ's very, very interview savvy, and suddenly something sort of sparked off at the end. I don't quite know really what it was all about. Whether Daniel said something, AJ felt disrespected. It was all a bit strange. But look, it lights a fire, doesn't it? If we needed a fire, they've sparred together. It was amazing sparring when it happened. There's no reason why they can't lock horns in the middle of that Wembley ring and give us something special. So they're two heavyweights who can really punch. Two British heavyweights. AJ goes in favourite, and people will say, was he rattled there by Dubois? Was Dubois out of his depth? All those sort of things are going to be talked about. But I think a lot of people are disrespecting Daniel Dubois and thinking this is an easy night for Anthony. And look, on past form, AJ looks reignited under Ben Davison. But I think Daniel's done really well, beating Jarrell Miller, doing so well against Alexander Usyk before that, and then, upsetting Filip Hrgovic. And people are sort of going on about, he got hit by loads of punches in the first couple of rounds. And yeah, he did. And if he gets hit like that against AJ, he might not get up. But let's focus on what he has done, which is he's shown so much courage and guts to come back from a lot of questions, Daniel. And, he's a tough guy, and he can punch and he can box. And he gave AJ a lot of issues in sparring when I saw it. It was a really competitive stuff. So I think we're going to have a really exciting night on the September the 21st. And I think that all the promotional build-up will be fun as well. Now there's a little bit of needle there, but we didn't even really need it, because I think it's two good fighters for a world heavyweight title fight, and it could go quick, of course, but it could go quick either way because both can bang. AJ definitely starts favourite going in, but I would say write Daniel Dubois off at your peril, and write Don Charles off at your peril, because he's going to come up with something, and he's psychologically got into Daniel, and Daniel looks a different animal under Don.
I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez and potentially the fight between him and Devin Haney as well. Obviously, he's fighting tonight first, needs to get that out of the way. But what do you make of that in the future? Obviously, that would be one of the bigger fights in the world of boxing, a Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney fight.
I love it. I think it's great. I love Teofimo Lopez. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a real character. I think we need him in the sport, and we need him at top level. Devin Haney, of course. The Ryan Garcia fight, it's difficult to really assess it all after what's happened, but Haney had a lot of good moments in that fight too. He's a brilliant boxer. I'm a big fan of Devin Haney's, and he just dusts himself down and goes again, right? And let's put him in big fights. So him and Lopez is a great match, and we need to see it this year.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time once again, Adam. I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, brilliant. No, safe night, safe travels home, and hopefully warm up in a minute.